Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. And very warm Merry Christmas from all of us here at MaintainX. So this is MaintainX wrapped and ready, looking back at 2022. And the goal of this session is really to highlight some of the top innovations that we brought to the MaintainX over the past year, and also to give you guys some guidance on how you can use them to accomplish more with your teams in the years ahead. My name is Colin Strachan, Senior Product Marketing Manager at MaintainX. And I'm super happy to be joined today by my teammate, Adam Tomporowski, another member of the product marketing team here.
Welcome, everybody. Happy to have you here.
And our implementation team lead, Sarah Gali, who I know will be a familiar face for many of you watching. She, of course, brings tons of experience from the shop floor as well. So it's amazing to have her here with us.
Thank you, Colin. Nice to be here. I recognize already a few names that I know, so looking forward to this.
Awesome. And I should mention, as a bonus, we also have Vincent Landry from our implementation team joining us to answer some of your questions in the chat. Okay, so what are we doing at MaintainX? Well, we know that 80% of the workforce does not sit behind a desk. And so our mission is to transform the way that frontline teams work so that they can more easily and efficiently manage the equipment that powers our world. We are building for the long term. We're building resilience with our customers. And that really comes down to two things. So the first is to provide a mobile-first platform that's extremely easy to use and helps you to streamline your operations and keep equipment running. And of course, the second is to work together with you as a team to bring expertise and support over the long term to help you hit your goals. Because we know that, of course, how you use MaintainX is just as important as making the product available to you. We're extremely proud of the companies we work with. There are now thousands of manufacturers, facilities, companies big and small that trust MaintainX to help them deliver powerful results with proactive maintenance. And obviously that number continues to grow as we continue to help you guys solve some of the biggest challenges that you face today. Across our customer base, we have hundreds of thousands of users on the platform. And up to now, there have been millions upon millions of work orders created and assets managed in the platform. Something else we're extremely proud of is our reviews. As you're probably aware, we are the top-rated mobile-first platform across multiple review sites. This is something that we've accomplished together with you guys, our customers, and we really are massively thankful to you all for inspiring so much innovation within our product. And of course, for taking the time to leave those reviews, which have continued to come throughout 2022. You can see here an array of awards from G2 that span everything from ease of use to fast implementation, and of course, return on investment. So we are extremely happy to have been able to deliver a product that's strong in all of these areas that really matter to you. So let's take a look back then at the past year. And just to kind of set some context here, the growth within our team has been incredible. And I'm going to talk about what that means for you guys. So MaintainX was launched in 2018 by a group of 4, which is crazy for us to think about now. At the end of last year, our headcount reached 55. So it's not bad, right? I mean, that's almost 15x over 3 years. We are about to close out 2022 with a team of 153, which represents a tripling in the past year alone. Our account management and support teams have grown by around 4 times, which really shows the commitment that we've made to providing the best possible experience for you guys and building solid foundations for the times ahead of us. And what this growth means for you is that we can provide better support, more ongoing education and best practices, as we're doing today with this webinar, and of course, deliver more innovation in the product. And talking of the product, the MaintainX platform has also had an impressive year of growth. Our incredible engineering team released 178 desktop updates and 49 on mobile throughout 2022. And we're going to take a look in a moment at some of the most valuable things that we introduced. But what's the philosophy behind all of this product development? Well, we know that every team operates differently and has different needs, right? So that's why a core element of our roadmap has been around customization. This allows you to basically make MaintainX your own, create the experience that you need based on your team's unique approach to maintenance. Streamlining workflows, this is something that we've always been about, and this year was no exception. We know that anything we can do to make your lives easier is a win-win situation. And a lot of what we built into MaintainX in 2022 was about taking work off your hands so that you can be more productive as a team. And then finally, communication. Obviously, such an important part of keeping teams aligned and informed. And without it, you're more likely to make mistakes, which, as we all know, can sometimes be very costly. So before we dive into our releases for this year and how you can use them, I just want to get you involved here. And I'm going to take a quick poll. So out of the three priorities I just mentioned, customization, streamlining workflows, and improving communication, which would you say has been the most important to your team? Oh, we've got votes flying in here. Oh, it's neck and neck.
A lot of different choices.
Yes, it's amazing to see. Good, good. I think we have a winner here. Adam, take it away.
Perfect. Yeah, it looks like streamlining your workflow, but hopefully that means everybody's excited to get through all of the different features that we're excited to show off today. So yeah, so let's just get started by showing off some of the amazing features we've released that really truly allow you to customize MaintainX to fit your team. So the first feature that we'll be highlighting today are procedure scores. Adding scores to your procedures allows you to measure how well the completed work was performed and if it meets with your organization's goals of quality and safety and cleanliness. By simply adjusting how the total score is calculated based on your priorities and goals, you can begin evaluating procedures against organizational and regulatory standards. And by adding scored procedures to work orders, you'll be able to quickly pinpoint inspections, locations, and tasks that consistently receive low scores. This can make it much easier to pinpoint improvements, which can in turn reduce risk and improve overall quality. We've also recently added the ability to trigger corrective actions based on the scores that you set. So by establishing threshold scores, your team can quickly address quality and risk issues without the need to review each individual work order. So let's imagine you're an organization that conducts monthly site audits to ensure the facilities are efficient, safe, and compliant with OSHA regulations. Without procedure scores, a technician may complete all the steps required, but it doesn't indicate if the procedure was done well. So with scoring, if leaking pipes have been an issue for you in the past, you can now add weight to the safety risk they pose and trigger a corrective action so it's addressed immediately. All this combined allows you to really gain valuable insights into the work that's being completed and gives you the opportunity to drive continuous improvement within your organization. And to continue with procedures, the next feature I'll be covering is conditional logic fields. So the days of adding static checklists and attaching flowchart diagrams to work orders are over, as you can now build dynamic procedures using conditional logic fields. These fields allow you to apply if-then logic to procedures, so available fields change based on user input. So instead of having to interpret printed instructions or search for the correct next steps, users will see only checklists, instructions, and tasks that are relevant to their specific situation. This not only helps to simplify even the most complex procedure, but can accelerate training and reduce risk by ensuring that your team takes the right action every time. I'd also like to just quickly mention that this is still in beta. So if you would like access to conditional logic fields, please let your account manager know and they'll be happy to turn it on for you. Now, I've heard Sarah has seen how effective this can be in the field. So do you have any stories you'd like to share?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Adam. So I kind of want to put conditional logic in a little bit of a use case scenario. Think of conditional logic like you're building a procedure for your staff, for your crew. And then suddenly you can actually decide what the next steps should be in that specific instance regarding, the fact that they found some oil on the floor during their inspection or something like that. It's effectively everyone on the call should see this as training your staff without being right next to them. So think about building that conditional logic based on their response, the next step is actually going to show up. And you're right in the comfort of your office still, right? You're not right next to them. So think about this as well as a beautiful case for helping train your new crew members.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, so the next thing that we're quickly going to highlight here is the user experience, which is a vital part of the adoption process. But just like how every organization is unique, there isn't a one-size-fits-all user experience. So this is why we've expanded on the settings available to you so that you can truly create the user experience that fits your team perfectly. Here's just a few of the settings that I'd like to showcase. We've now opened up the ability to relabel the majority of our features. So now if it works better for your team to rename locations as production lines or assets as equipment, you can easily change the name to better suit the needs of your site. Also within our updated settings, you can now easily create and manage teams. Along with that, you can make any team an escalation team, giving you more flexibility on who is notified about situations such as overdue work orders, failed or flagged procedures, or even when critical parts are low. This means that as your employee base continues to grow, you can easily expand the number of teams to ensure that all the work is addressed properly and quickly. And the last setting I want to mention is how you can toggle on and off select feature modules. This gives you the opportunity to customize the overall structure of MaintainX so that only those modules that are the most important to your team are visible. So this allows your team to focus more on the most important parts of the app and not get distracted or bogged down by features that don't really apply to them. Sarah, again, I'm sure you've seen some great examples of how these settings have been used.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. So working with a lot of you here, I see in the intended list. Think about it this way. Maybe you don't name assets. Maybe you prefer having it be equipments. So the ability to customize your platform, your organization now is really to make it even more recognizable for your crew. Maybe they're used to seeing assets as equipments, and now you can actually relabel assets to equipment. Maybe instead of locations, you'd like to set up a couple of departments. So you can rename locations to departments, so on and so forth. This is your way of creating your organization that will work for you and your team. So that's what I wanted to kind of highlight here. Thank you, Adam.
Yeah, thanks again, Sarah. I appreciate that. And our last big addition to the settings are the new customizable fields. This can be a massive benefit for any team, allowing you to add even greater detail to your processes in an effort to help your teams work more efficiently. So having the full details of a situation is crucial to ensure work is completed on time. And if a work order is put on hold or a sudden breakdown was resolved without any further information, it can be really difficult for you and your team to action on that information. Now, with customizable fields, you can ensure details are given when they're most needed. And with a variety of different fields to choose from, you can ensure there's no confusion on the details that your team needs to provide. Just to mention, custom fields are now accessible within the settings for work orders, assets, locations, parts, purchase orders, meters, and vendors. So this gives you plenty of opportunities to add even greater detail to the work your team is doing. Yeah, Sarah, again, sorry to keep bringing you in, but like, have you experienced any great use cases or ideas on how some of these settings or these custom fields can be used?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, one of the ways that we also often get used for is, can we have failure codes within our work orders? Can we tag a failure code? This is your way of being able to tag a failure code directly within your work order with a single select custom field. You're wanted to chime in as well that you're able to filter that out from your work orders as well as reporting to see all the work orders that have been applied to a specific failure code in the last, for example, 6 months. So this is a great use case for this, but think about it in any other way as well. Anything you want to make sure is added to your work orders also goes through custom fields, and same thing for all the other features that you mentioned, Adam.
Yeah, I love the examples. Honestly, these examples are fantastic. Perfect. So now, just before we continue, I'd like to stop here and just see if we have any questions about anything that we just recently covered, our dynamic procedures, new settings, or customizable fields.
There's a great question in the chat, Adam, that I'd like to see, and I see Vincent already inserted, but I will still bring it up. Are these options only available to enterprise level accounts? No, custom fields are also available on the premium plan user accounts. So very important to note, you can customize all the features we mentioned and still be on the premium account level using plan.
Awesome. Perfect. Okay, well, I think we'll move on. I'll pass it back to Colin, who's now going to go over some of our workflow features.
Thank you very much, Adam. So as I mentioned earlier, a huge part of what we launched in 2022 was about streamlining workflows. So this is really about how do we get repetitive tasks done faster? How do we make it easier to get from A to B? How do we make it easier to navigate the unexpected changes that we face every day? Obviously, the more administrative work that we can remove from your workflows, the more productive your team can be and the more efficiently that you can operate. So what better place to start than drag and drop? Again, thank you to everyone who requested this and made it one of our most loved updates of 2022. Now, the MaintainX calendar view was designed to give you an idea of how you're allocating resources at a quick glance. But like I said earlier, things change, right? So your site check could be delayed. You might need to move your monthly inspection because of a shift change. And before, you could see the problem on the calendar, but fixing it required a bit too much work. So that's why towards the end of this year, we launched drag and drop work order scheduling using the calendar view in MaintainX. So now if you need to reschedule a work order, you can save buckets of time by just lifting it and dropping it into a new slot in the calendar. So Sarah, did anyone care about this?
Yeah, I can tell the chat right now is also mentioning this. Drag and drop, I think, has been one of the most exciting feature for all of our clients. Really, think about it this way: you're in your crew meeting in the morning, you're looking at your calendar view, and suddenly you realize you've got a breakdown. You have to focus on something that is different than your PM, and that will happen. So you can actually just drag and drop it through another day, and that effectively will change its due date. Same thing. I know we've seen a couple use cases here about property management in the chats. It's really fundamentally the same thing. If your tenant is giving you a little bit more leeway and more time, and your contract is giving you a different due date, then you can also drag and drop that exact work order task into another day. So, that it really fuels a little bit of the conversations here around just team meetings, Colin. So great feature, very, very well liked, I think, by our clients.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of love for this in the chat right now, and a few people who weren't aware of it and are now going to start using it. So it's super happy to see so much love for drag and drop. So another thing that was taking up a lot of people's time was editing and deleting objects in bulk. So for a lot of time in MaintainX, you've been able to select multiple work orders and reassign a bunch of them at once, or change due dates and categories. But the problem was that this functionality stopped at work orders. So you didn't have the same easy operation when it came to assets or vendors or parts. So another great time saver that we launched in 2022 was to extend this concept of batch actions to other objects inside MaintainX. So let's say several of your assets move to a new location. You can now update the location of several assets at once, or even all of them, by selecting multiple checkboxes and applying the changes en masse. So you can use this functionality to kind of clean up your MaintainX org, reduce the risk of error. For example, let's say you want to remove several vendors that you aren't using anymore. And another great use of these batch actions is to create a purchase order, for example, using multiple parts. And all of this really just helps you to streamline those administrative tasks and keep you focused on higher value work. Inventory management, essential to a successful preventative maintenance plan. But when you have so many parts and so many assets, keeping accurate records of which part is attached to which asset can involve a lot of manual work. So earlier this year, to help you build these links between parts and assets faster, we launched the ability to link parts to an asset when you create an asset in MaintainX. So without this functionality, you basically just have a long list of parts. The part itself doesn't give you very much context on whether you need it, because you don't know what type of asset it's used on or what it can be used to fix. If you don't know what a part is used for, it makes it hard to tie a part to work that's being done on an asset, which of course makes it difficult to track inventory properly. Some of our customers told us that sometimes they had to look back at which vendor they bought a part from in order to know which asset it was supposed to be used for, which is obviously very inconvenient. And of course, when you can't manage inventory properly, you're at risk of stockouts, which increases the risk of machines going down. You might even botch a repair by using the wrong part, for example. And so by tying parts and assets together, it's easier to get visibility into when you need to restock parts. And that helps you to prevent part shortages and keep your machines running. And actually, to take this a step further, we actually just recently launched an update that allows you to connect parts to assets automatically based on work order completion. So let's say you tried out different parts of an asset and they didn't fit. When you finally find the one that works and close that work order, the part gets linked to your asset automatically. So this is huge because, creating your bill of materials in that way, it saves you even more time and it reduces the risk of error as well.
Yeah, Colin, wanted to chime in into that one as well. Just to give a quick example of the parts and assets, the fact that you're now, and this is 2 weeks ago for everybody attending the webinar right now. So our engineering team really is really quick about the features and the requests that you all submit. Think about it this way. You currently added a part and forgot to add it to the correct asset. The minute you click complete on that work order, be it on property management or be it on the floor, you will have that part be automatically associated to the assets. I just wanted to bring that as an emphasis here as well, because this is a very, very brand new feature, Colin. And I think the entire team will be very happy to hear about that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sarah. And staying on the topic of inventory management, we also launched configurable filters this year. So that helps you to track down parts from the many hundreds or even thousands that you might have stored in MaintainX. This is something that greatly saves your team time because you can essentially create specific views based on multiple filters, and it helps you to quickly narrow down your search to find the part that you're looking for. So these are just some of the ways that we helped you to streamline your workflow and save time in 2022. Do we have any questions on these updates? So we covered drag and drop, batch actions, and inventory management. I know that Vincent's been doing some work in the chat here.
We do have a Q&A question from Frederick. I'll answer live. I know Vincent also answered a little bit of it. Absolutely, we have a lot of experience with property management and real estate. The beautiful part, and I'll link that back to a topic Adam covered earlier today, all locations labels can be renamed. And so a lot of times the equipments, the assets in this case, will oftentimes be your apartment units, whereas the locations are the actual floors or can even be the actual addresses. So to not get too much the details, MaintainX as versatile and modular, it fits this use case as much as the use case on the floor. So just wanted to bring that up here and answer Fred's question.
Thank you, Sarah. Okay, take it away, Adam.
Perfect. Yeah. So yeah, the final bit that we're going to cover here today is our enhanced communication features and really just how we really wanted to make it easier for you and your team to really communicate across the board, whether it's in the app, whether it's on the floor, and really just try to make that a much smoother experience. So the first new communication feature is request emails. So when it comes to keeping every possible user in the loop of the work that's being done, it can become difficult for requesters specifically as they lack visibility into the work that's being undertaken. This is where this new feature comes into play, as we've now added automated email notifications specifically for requesters. So when submitting a new request, if this feature is enabled by the admin, users can now add their email addresses and be notified when specific events happen. You can now allow them to receive email notifications when they get a work request is created, whether it's approved or declined, or even when it's completed. You also have the flexibility to choose which specific events actually trigger the notification. So say you don't want them to be aware of if it's been approved or declined, you can actually customize that so that only those emails are declined and they only get the ones that were, say, created or completed. So with these automated notifications, you can now cut down on the amount of follow-up needed when it comes to communicating with requesters, while at the same time ensuring they're able to stay updated with the requests they've been submitting. And I know we have a lot of clients that have a lot of request users. I'm sure Sarah can speak to the benefits of this new feature.
Absolutely. Thank you, Adam. I wanted to mention on requesters, think about this as the people that come to your office or grab you in the hallway. That's what I always tell my clients, and that ask you for something specific that needs to be fixed on the floor or something that needs to be fixed at your tenant unit. Push them to submit those requests via MaintainX as being requesters, and they will be getting, exactly as Adam described here, email notifications of you putting that request into either a work order or denying that request due to maybe, for example, a duplicate entry. This is huge because then they are putting down the information in their own words, and you don't need to remember what they told you in the hallway or when they're in your office. So really use this feature as a way of delegating a little bit and making sure that you get the right information to end up doing the right job. So that's what I wanted to say here.
That's great. Again, thanks again, Sarah, for these real life examples. Now we come to our last feature that we'd like to showcase. Comments and messages can be a fantastic way for your team to communicate with each other, especially when they're focused on particular tasks and can't really easily reach out to speak in person. But words can only do so much to help illustrate what they're encountering, and can be really inefficient if they have to type out lengthy messages just to explain what they mean. As they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words, but in this case, it's video. So this is why we've now made it possible to embed videos directly within the app, specifically with work orders and messages, without the need for the reader having to download the video onto their device. This gives them the ability to watch the video directly within the chat itself, giving them greater visibility into the situation. So maybe a tech is running into an unknown problem during regular maintenance and really just wants to get some help on how to solve it. Or a manager wants to share a video of how a common error was fixed to help train a new hire or a team of new hires. This can now all be done directly within the app, making it easier than ever to communicate with team members without them really having to leave the app at all to get the details they need. It can all be done directly within the work order comments or the messages themselves. Perfect. And with that, again, I'd like to just stop here and see if we have any questions specifically around email notifications or embedded videos.
I have a question that comes a little bit before, I think, the call-in section. So from Melissa, will there be a way when scheduling a work order to set an end date? Melissa, I'll try my best to understand completely the question, but when you schedule a work order, the due date that you select for that work order will technically be your end. Notice there is a small button right under that due date that says add a start date. This is your way of being flexible and letting that work order show up for you and your team maybe 20 days ahead of time or a couple hours ahead of the due date that you've selected. You can be very flexible with that start date, giving your team the time to complete it so that the end date is then your due date. So I hope that I answered that correctly, Melissa. And then a few questions from the chat. So I think Vincent has answered most of them. If there are any specific questions, I think one of them is what part of the app is used to upload videos? So, well, you'll be able to upload videos right within your work order when you create a work order. So keep in mind that you can take a video and then attach it to that work order, either in the comment section when you actually add some specific pictures to your work order. So hopefully that answered, I think that was Mark's question.
Awesome. Thanks again for all the questions, everybody. Keep them coming because we're going to have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar as well. So now that we've covered all these significant features, you can see that we've done a lot this last year. Our team has really been focused and hard at work on helping to empower your frontline teams. As you can see, we've added deeper customization options with procedure scores, conditional logic fields, and customizable fields. We've really helped you do more with less by helping to streamline your workflows with drag and drop scheduling, batch actions, linking parts with assets, and even expanded filter views. And we've helped keep your teams aligned with enhanced communication features like email notifications for requesters and the ability to embed videos directly into messages and work orders. So as you can see, we've had a pretty productive 2022, but this is just the start. We have a lot of exciting things, coming down the line in 2023. But before we really get into that, again, we'd like to open up this poll to you and really ask what feature from the past year are you most excited to start using? We've talked a lot about it, but we're excited to see what you're excited to starting to use, whether it's dynamic procedures, custom fields. I know drag and drop is getting a lot of love. See some answers flowing in here. Pretty good.
Wow, it's a nice spread across the board again.
Yeah, pretty good.
Ooh,
good.
Neck and neck.
I was expecting there to be a few front runners, but it seems pretty even, which is nice. Looks like drag and drop and parts and asset linking are a couple of the top ones. Embedded videos also receiving quite a few likes. Awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. And, again, just to mention, these features are all available other than conditional logic, which, again, you just need to reach out to your account manager. But these are all available right now. So after the webinar, if you want to jump and start using them, go right ahead. It's exciting. So and with that, I'll pass it back off to Colin to close this up.
Thank you very much, Adam. Now, as we spoke a bit about the innovation we brought to MaintainX last year, I just want to talk a little bit about what's coming. So we know that there are a lot of challenges facing companies like yours at the moment, and we're really here to help you stay resilient for any macroeconomic circumstances that might develop in the years to come. And that's why our roadmap moving forward is really centered on helping you to accomplish these things. So first of all, reducing costs. This is obviously such a huge goal for many of us, right? Trying to eliminate waste wherever we can. And a big part of that is being more proactive with our maintenance, protecting our equipment from failing before it does, trying to prevent those unforeseen situations that end up costing us a lot more than we would want. One of the things that we got some of you guys using towards the end of this year is asset status, which helps you to monitor whether or not your assets are on and offline. We're going to be continuing to build that out in 2023 so that you can better track the downtime history of your assets and make better choices about where to focus your budget. We've spoken a lot today about streamlining workflows and how that can help your team to be more efficient. We know that many of you face difficulties finding and keeping hold of skilled workers. And of course, the better that we can make life for your technicians on the floor, the happier they're going to be and the more productive they can actually be in each shift. So in 2023, we will continue to work on improving the way that your team operates on the floor. Optimizing operations. So you can't do that without a reliable window into what's happening on the floor. That's what makes reporting and analytics so important. So to give you better visibility into operations in 2023, we'll be improving the reporting functionality in MaintainX. We'll be focusing on how to provide you with the insights that matter to you more easily, and allow you to prioritize the data that you see at a glance and use it to make better budget decisions. And then how do we leverage your existing equipment better so that you can utilize things like sensors and even get better quality data into your ERP? In 2023, we'll be building out our integrations so that you can automate certain processes, provide better preventative maintenance, and help to create that single source of truth using MaintainX to capture shop floor data. And if we look at trends for the coming year, we see automation, analytics, and IoT technology as the top 3 areas of investment for manufacturers in particular. And it really makes sense because these are all the investments that ultimately help you to accomplish the goals that we've listed here above. And so we're extremely happy to be able to bring you bring more power to MaintainX in all of these areas. So to wrap this up, I do want to run a final poll. And I just want to get some feedback from you guys on your priorities for 2023, sorry. Out of these priorities, preventive maintenance, improving workflows, data analysis and optimization, integrating your technology, which of these things stand out to you as your area of focus for the coming year?
Preventative maintenance taking a pretty
Love
early
it.
lead. Makes sense. Improving workflows, second there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your votes, guys. It really helps us to stay on the pulse as we move forward. And we looks like we have a clear winner here. It looks like preventative maintenance is the top of your list for 2023. So we are very, very happy to be with you on that journey. And that, as they say, is a wrap. So thank you again so much for joining us today. And again, on behalf of the team here at MaintainX, I do wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas. Before we go, are there any final questions that we can take before we wrap things up here?
We did get a few questions, Colin, if I may. So one of the questions in the chat that I'd love to answer was, can we attach manuals to assets? I think that is a great question. Notice when you edit your equipment that you have the ability to attach files. By all means, attach your manuals. With the QR code functionality that we have, your team's able to go up to that equipment, scan that QR code, and pull up that asset information, including that manual. If you have too many manuals, make sure you zip them into a zip file and attach that zipped file into your asset. It's kind of a nifty trick that I usually give my clients. And then we have a couple questions in the Q&A, and I'll do my best to answer most of them. One question from Joey. In regards to asset status, I love the feature so far, but is there a plan to link the downtime to a particular work order? Joe, we know that we are working on asset status continuously. So this will definitely be something that we look at in the next year. Then another question from, I believe this was Buck, when we have the request, the reason was not to the requester. Buck, this is also something our engineering team has been made aware of, and we are looking into adding functionality in the future. So know this is coming. And if you have any specific question, please reach out to your account manager. They are the people that are your MaintainX best friends. So they're there to answer any and all questions you may have regarding features that are upcoming. Adam, Colin, I'll let you know, are there any other questions that you see we would want to specifically answer today? Or should I keep going? I'll answer one from Dennis. Same thing here, Dennis. Is there a way of entering jobs after the fact? So you can always enter time after the fact as an administrator. Enter the time that has been added to the. Our system currently works as work order instances. So if the work order is created now, if I understand you correctly in this use case, that would maybe I forget to create the work order and want to enter the job and kind of backdate it. That is also something that has been brought up to our engineering team. So for everyone on the call, know we also use MaintainX at MaintainX. So we are all aware of these little features that have already been brought up to our engineering team. So this will be something to definitely keep in mind and keep asking your account manager in the future. But it is also something that we would see in the future of MaintainX. And then a few more. So Frederick asking if we will have a special meeting for real estate. Frederick, I highly encourage you to reach out to our account management team or sales team if you're interested in looking into MaintainX. they will be able to tailor a specific demo or a specific meeting specifically for real estate. So in terms of webinar, we open up to our large group of clients. So we've got people from every industry. I think from looking at the chat right now, definitely a bit of manufacturing as well as property management in there, or even hospitality. So please reach out to our sales team or to your account manager. You can always go to our website, and I think there's a contact MaintainX at the very bottom here. So they will be able to tailor a full demo for real estate. And then just reading through some of the questions here. Ryan, answering your question, we use MaintainX for both internal and external work. We do billing for both internal and external clients. A more robust billing reporting options and accounting software would be helpful. Ryan, part of our early next year, we're looking at the purchase order module. So I'm not sure if that's exactly what you're referring to here, but I think you'll be pleasantly happy with what will come out in the future. And then in terms of reporting, as Adam mentioned, their reporting is already on our roadmap for next year. So I hope that answers a little bit of your question. We are getting a lot of questions. That's great. What is the chance for projects or subtasks? Take a look at the category section on your work orders. This is the section in work orders that allows you to create a work order type. In this case, project is already a category that exists in the system. A lot of our clients will use that category project to be able to diversify and differentiate between the work orders that are maybe reactive or things that are on the moment from the projects, and that this filter category is also filterable in your reporting page. So when you look at how, for example, your site is doing, you're able to remove text from it to really get the big picture of what is my maintenance looking like, how are my equipment doing versus what are my projects right now and how are they doing. So I highly recommend Fred to look at projects as your categories inside of your work orders. A question from Kane, any news on creating work order templates to choose from? Kane, this is absolutely something that our team is looking at in the future. So yes, about the news, it's definitely something that will be coming to MaintainX in the near future. And then Tessa from the chat, what about reports to track repeated failures for equipment? Is there any reports on the module to produce? Tessa, again, on Adam's roadmap for the future, reporting will be in there. So I believe that you'll be happy about what will come out in the reporting feature regarding failures and equipments. But I'll give you a little nugget. Take a look at the reactive versus repeatable graphic that's currently within our reporting page. By asset, and that specific graphic will give you a little bit of the trends, active work orders that are showing up per your equipment. Looking at that will help you kind of see, hey, is there a failure that's happened on my floor again repeatedly over the last 3 months that we could maybe create a procedure for and then an SOP to maybe, I don't know, avoid having that reactive problem show up in the first place. This is already going to give a good amount of information, pretty much a trend you just can't see right now on pen and paper. So for now, I'll send you that route. And I know that a lot of our clients, they see a lot of the reactions. A lot of our clients already do that when looking at building their own sites, SOPs. Perfect. Adam, Colin, I believe we have time for a few more questions. What do you both think?
Yeah,
Yeah,
a couple more.
Yep.
Perfect. So let me choose another 2 questions. So I have a question from Dennis here, which was already answered from the previous, but following my question for the after the fact job, I'd like to enter all of my contract orders in the system I think it's a great point, Dennis. So linking back to one of the features we showed today, if ever in the meantime you're looking to do that today, feel free to use the custom field option that Adam or Colin have both presented. That will give you the ability to type in, and some of the fields that you can have as custom fields are surprisingly dates. So that would give you kind of the way to go and get you 3/4 of the way there in being able to create a work order, enter your contractor information, and then add that as a date and within a custom field within that work order. Also know that you'll be able to then have that visible for anybody in your system that is a full user, and they will be able to see that backdating within that custom field. Perfect. So I'll try to select one question from the chat. Are you providing any webinars on automated reports like work order completion percentage, past due and failed? Joshua, great question. And then I'll speak a little bit about our team, and that's also on with us today and answering the chat really well. Our team supports explanation of all reporting and implementation. So feel free to reach out to either account management or your sales team, or even the support chat within your organization. They're all able to help you and answer any questions you may have on the report. Please, by all means, we are the type of company that really supports you in any questions you may have. So contact support chat within your organization, or your account manager, your sales representative, or your implementation team representative. Other than that, the suggestion is really not bad. So I'll let Colin and Adam take that up for maybe a potential future webinar. Awesome. So Adam, Colin, I think we did a pretty good round of questions. What do you think?
I think so. Yeah, I see some around timelines, but I think like Sarah said, you know, we might not necessarily have that yet. And the best course of action is to just stay in touch with your AM, with your account manager. But thank you, Sarah and Vincent, so much for your insight that you've given here, and to Adam for presenting with me, and of course to all of you who have joined today and been so well engaged with your questions as well. We love it. With that, we're going to wrap this up. Thank you so much, and Merry Christmas to all of you.
Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Thank you, everyone.